Hey cats, it's Ed Midsole Bud here, back with another surefire banger. I've got an episode for you of the popular series Running Shoe Yay or Nay. This is where I look at some forthcoming running shoe options and let you know if I'm going to pick them up for review or not. It's not me saying that the shoe is trash or treasure, merely if I see them being a reasonable pickup in terms of fitting into my running shoe rotation or of note for testing. Perhaps it's something that I really feel the viewers might want to see. Today, some scintillating shoes for inspection. We got the Supernova Prima or Prima, not entirely sure how you pronounce it. The Brooks Ghost 16 with a midsole update. The Adidas Adistar BYD, really not sure about that one. And one that the viewers really seem to be interested in, the PUMA Deviate Nitro 3. Lots of shoes, lots of info, let's get into it. As usual, people, it's always appreciated you tuning in. Hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up like too. Drop us a comment to help fight the algorithm. Dankeschön. First shoe up today is from Adidas. It's the Supernova Prima. I think it's Prima. There used to be like a magazine like in the 80s or 90s called Prima, and I'm pretty sure it was spelt like that. So if it's wrong, I'm very sorry. This is very much a max cushioned model here, with more of that Dream Strike Plus midsole material. I remember there was a big hoo-ha about that. Everybody was talking about it when the Supernova Rise first dropped, and the shoe turned out to be, you know, okay. It wasn't terrible, it just wasn't anything particularly standout. We got a 39mm heel stack here in the sample size, 31mm up front, so a very popular 8mm type drop. I think when you consider there's about 12 grams extra weight here, though you're getting about 3mm extra in the heel and about 5mm extra up front on top of the Supernova Rise, and there's only about a 20 quid difference, so it doesn't seem like a particularly bad shoe. Though I guess the main worry here, for me at least, is in my UK size 11, this shoe's going to be quite weighty. In the sample size, we got about 290 grams, so I can see it being a little bit on the heavy side for daily use perhaps, when you've got other options out there that are way below that with just as much stack. I think actually the SL2 from Adidas is got pretty much the same stack really, and it's about 40 quid cheaper. I see the Adidas lineup splintering off in two ways here. The Adi Zero shoes obviously for speed training and racing in mind, then the Dream Strike lineup, which now has about 4 different versions of what on the face of it appears to be a very similar design. The foam of course a Prima blend by the looks. It's not as fragile as Nike's all out pure stuff, but a little firmer here and more consistent. Though it does appear that the foam rods that are in the Supernova Rise are still here in the Prima, but without any extra external heel rubber this time. Maybe that's to try and keep the weight down to a sort of more manageable amount if you start adding on more rubber. That tends to be one of the more weighty elements that's in any running shoe. I'm just not sure I need a shoe that's just so similar to the Supernova Rise right now. You know, it's certainly a welcome technological move forward, I suppose, from Adidas, away from Boost, but there's just too many other cushioned midsoles in my rotation right now that I've got to get more miles into. So it's a nay right now for me for the Supernova Prima from Adidas. Shoe number 2 is from Brooks, the Ghost 16. I did examine the Ghost 15 last year and it was alright, you know, it was a daily sort of model. Though for me the 12mm drop was just too aggressive. This time round in the version 16 we've got a new midsole foam, DNA Loft 3. Though that has been around for a couple of years in some of the other shoes, it's only just found its way into the Brooks Ghost line. Perhaps this is an effort from Brooks to try and move with the times a bit more and update their range to keep up with the competition. The 16 does seem to utilise some sort of nitrogen infused foam, though I'm a bit confused about the 24mm that's quoted as the heel stack on the website. It seems like much more than that really. I think anyone that's reviewed the shoe, or at least the Ghost 15, reckon that the heel stack was much more considerable than that, so maybe that's a bit of an error. At least this version of the shoe seems to be a little bit cheaper than the 15, by about 15 quid actually. I think 150 quid last time out was a bit of a hard sell for the Ghost 15. He had to be a real stalwart of the Brooks running shoe lineup. I think if you're a fan of 12mm drops, then you'll be really excited about this one. For me though, that's way too aggressive in terms of the heel to toe drop, and it's just going to be a little bit light up front, I guess, for a daily shoe these days. I mean, it's going to take a pretty amazing shoe to beat the SL2 in terms of daily activities, in fairness. I think this one certainly definitely a bit more in tune for those who are sort of heavily entrenched heel strikers. So it's a nay for me on the Ghost 16. I guess at least they've pulled it down in terms of the number of Earth credits a little bit. Shoe 3 today is another one from Adidas. They seem to be dropping loads of shoes with very little fanfare. This is the Adistar BYD. Appears to be an upgraded version of the already released Adistar 3. So we do have continental rubber this time on the outsole of the Adistar BYD, and of course that familiar padded upper as well that we saw on all of the shoes within this model. This time Adidas have updated the foams though, so we have a top layer of Light Strike Pro to help soften things up a bit, and then that really firm Repetitor Plus stuff. That was really terrible. In fact, in the first version of the Adistar, I couldn't get rid of that shoe fast enough. Do I really need a new version of this one, even if it has got Light Strike Pro on the top? And the answer actually at 165 quid is no. Adistar lineup seems to be a slight stability based model now, which I really don't need, in fairness. Despite the refresh of the design, I'm not entirely sure where Adidas are sort of going with this model. It's quite hefty as well. It seems to be pretty high in terms of weight. Too many brands are just rehashing the designs over and over again at the moment, adding extra bits of tech into the shoe at different price points, which just seems a bit weird really. It's just more confusion for the buyers out there if you've got so many different shoes that all do different things. And the names don't really help either. When you look at other shoes on the market, something like the Triumph 21 or 22, in the new one you've got Power Run PB, which is their sort of top level foam really. And people know that shoe, they know what the Triumph's good for, it's been around for a long time, so it's pretty hard, you know, to get a bit of traction really with this Adistar BYD. Again, at 165 quid, I'm not going to go for this one. It's a nay on the Adistar BYD. I'm just not willing to gamble that much money on a shoe that I'm not entirely sure people are that excited by. Okay, last up is one that people have been hammering me in the emails, on Instagram, and in the comments for information about it, the PUMA Deviate Nitro 3. I'm really excited for this one straight off the bat. Puma haven't messed around too much with this model, though there are a few little changes we got to discuss. The heel stack is now 39mm in this one, and is quite an aggressive 10mm drop. Now, sometimes the info that we're quoted isn't always exactly what we get, though I found Puma information to be very accurate over the last few years. The plate in this one remains that forked split sort of model that we've seen in the previous version of the shoe, but it seems to be a more aggressive curve in the forefoot. So it really does remain to be seen whether that is an advantage or a negative aspect. We'll just have to get the shoe on foot and find out. At only 265 grams in the sample size, it looks to be slightly heavier than the V2, but it's only by a few grams, so I'm not going to get too upset about that. I think that might be down to the increase in the midsole stack, certainly in the heel there. The outsole on the previous versions was good for almost all surfaces and weather conditions, and we seem to have something very similar here in the V3. Some of the rubber, in fact, on this V3 version of the Deviate Nitro seems to be close to what we saw in the Magnify Nitro 2 from last year. I can confirm from Puma sources that the top layer of foam here in the Deviate Nitro 3 is Nitro Elite. It's that softer material, even though it does mention Nitro there. That seems to have really confused people. It is definitely still a combo of midsole materials here. Plate seems to be pretty similar to what we had in the last version of the shoe with this fork at the front. And I think as per the last one, the top layer of foam will be Nitro Elite and the bottom section is Nitro. Made for an absolutely fantastic combination, this one, and I'm really glad to see that Puma aren't really moving too far away from that. I do though think that there are different versions of Nitro Elite. Some of them seem to be a bit softer. If we look back at what we had in the Deviate Nitro Elite version 1, then to the version 2, and even in the Fast R version 1 and 2 as well, it does feel a little bit softer. Power tape, of course, in the right places for durability, and a similar looking heel to the Deviate Nitro 2. So I'm going to keep an open mind about the 10mm drop and the change in this one. Of course, that is exactly what we had in the absolutely majestic Vaporfly 4% if you'd forgotten. Another plus point is that they've kept the shoe at round about the same price as it was last time. I think this one's going to drop for 145 Earth credits here in the UK, which I think is a good price point for a very versatile option. So it's a yay on the Puma Deviate Nitro 3. Okay, that's all 4 of my selections today. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on these down in the comments. Very quick musical interlude for you today. Getting ready in the football mood. European Championships well underway. Lots of goals already. Been listening to the 1970 England World Cup squad anthem back home. Great backing vocals from the squad this time. They've kind of blended them all together. So it's like a relatively tuneful mob, really. It's a very catchy track, actually. Once it gets in your head, it never leaves. Love the classic footy clapping at the start as well, and good use of brass as well. And some funky 70s organ just to drive things along. Slightly umpire vibe about it, and also love the key changes too. There's so many really good England tunes that you can listen to get in the mood, though in fairness there are some absolute stinkers as well. Go and check it out, people. Back home from the 1970 England World Cup squad. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. It's always appreciated. Hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up like too. Comment to help out with the algorithm. My name's EDDBUD and I'll be seeing you.